Hey everybody, and today I am going to be talking about my Olympicsathon TBR. So it's the start of the Olympic Games, which means it's also time for Olympicsathon, which is a readathon, which is also centered around the Olympic Games, of course. I'll have the announcement linked in the description box. This is a readathon hosted by Charlotte over from the channel Clumsy Charlotte. The idea is that you will be representing a country. Doesn't have to be a country that you have any sort of a link to, just any country that you want to be representing, and you'll be trying to accumulate points for that country. There are 5 reading prompts for the 5 rings of the Olympic Games, but then there are also a few challenges that can lead to extra reading. I have tried to put as many of the challenges into the 5 books that I'm going to be talking about. There's only one sort of like additional challenge that I have been unable to fulfill with the books that I have here, and so potentially I'll have to read something else for that. But to be fair, for all of these there's a big caveat, and that's the fact that Game Nights-a-thon is still busy at the beginning of the Olympic Games-a-thon, and so Game Night-a-thon will still have the priority. If I can fit these books into Game Night-a-thon, I will start with my Olympic Games readathon TBR during the month of July. If not, I'll only start it in August, which of course means that what are the odds that I'm actually going to be finishing these. But so the 5 prompts are to read a book set in summer, to read a book with sports in it, to read a book for the country that you're representing, to read a book for the host country, and to read a book that has disability representation in it. Aside from that, you need to read a book with 5 colors on the cover, you need to read 5 translated books, you need to read books from 5 continents, and you need to read a book with a foiled cover. That last one is the one that I won't be completing with these books. I don't think so. But so because of this 5 translated books and 5 different continents, that's definitely steered my reading, and that is also the reason why I will be representing Mexico, because that is one of the continents, so North America was one of the continents left to me, so I needed a translated book from that continent, and that's how I landed on Mexico. But so let's go through it in the order. So for summer, I will be reading Temple Alley Summer by Sachiko Kashiwaba, which is of course going to be representing Asia, because that is a Japanese book. So Temple Alley Summer is the book that will also be counting for the more than 5 books on a cover, and it is a children's book. So from renowned Japanese children's author Sachiko Kashiwaba, Temple Alley Summer is a fantastical and mysterious adventure filled with the living dead, magical pearls, and a suspiciously nosy black cat named Kiriko, featuring beautiful illustrations from Miho Satake. Kazu knows something odd is going on when he sees a young girl in a white dress sneak out of his house in the middle of the night. Was he dreaming? Did he see a ghost? Things get even stranger when he shows up to school the next day to see the very same figure sitting in his classroom. No one else thinks it's weird, and even though Kazu doesn't remember ever seeing her before, they all seem convinced that the ghost girl Akari has been their friend for years. When Kazu's summer project to learn about Kimyo Temple draws the meddling attention of his mysterious neighbor, Mrs. Minakami, and his secretive new classmates, Kazu soon learns that not everything is as it seems in his hometown. So it mentions summer projects, so this is why this book counts for reading something set in summer. Next up, for a book featuring sports, I am kind of stretching this, but I am reading Two Sherpas by Sebastian Martinez Daniel. So this is representing South America, and it's basically about these 2 Sherpas who had been like accompanying a, like a mountaineering guy, and the guy is like lying dead at the bottom of a cliff or something like that, and so that's all I know about the premise. It has a link to sports. It was already on my want to read list, so I was like, sure, perfect time to pick this one up. For the country that I'll be representing, so for Mexico, I'll be reading Hurricane Season by Fernando Melchor, which is a story about about villainizing women. It's about a woman who is like living on the outskirts of society, considered a witch by everybody around her. And that is all I know about this. This book was shortlisted, I feel like, or won the International Booker Prize, and since then it's been on my radar, so I'm finally getting around to picking it up. for the host country, so for France, which is also the reason why I cannot represent my own country, because that would be a European country and I already have Europe with this prompt. So for the host country, I will be reading French Window by Antoine Lorraine. I have forgotten most of the premise, but the thing that made me excited about trying this one out is that it has like the sort of setup of Rear Window, the movie by what is his name? Hitchcock? Alfred Hitchcock. So it is kind of like gazing in on the lives of the people around you, like looking in on people and their private lives. And so I've forgotten the rest of the premise, but that sounded intriguing enough to make me want to give it a go. And so I'm picking it up sooner rather than later, because this is a very recent book on my radar. And then for disability representation, I will be reading The Happy Marriage by Tahar Ben Jalloul, so a representation for Africa. So in The Happy Marriage, the internationally acclaimed Moroccan author tells the story of one couple, first from the husband's point of view, then from the wife's, just as legal reforms are about to change women's rights forever. The husband, a painter in Casablanca, has been paralyzed by a stroke at the very height of his career and becomes convinced that his marriage is the sole reason for his decline. Walled up within his illness and desperate to break free of a deeply destructive relationship, he finds escape in writing a secret book about his hellish marriage. When his wife finds it, she responds point by point with her own version of the facts, offering her own striking and incisive reinterpretation of their story. Who is right and who is wrong? A thorny issue in a society where marriage remains a sacrosanct institution, but where there's also a growing awareness of women's rights. And in their absorbing struggle, both sides of this modern marriage find out they may not be so enlightened after all. So that sounds really interesting. So that is my TBR for Olympicsathon. I hope, like, looking at it again now, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely do want to hopefully try and fit them into Game Night-a-thon to try and get around to all of these. Some of these only made their way onto that list because I needed a translated book that would fit a specific prompt. But nevertheless, I am excited about giving these a go. So hopefully I'll also have enough time to fit all of them into July, August, the times of the Olympic Games. And so yeah. Basically just back here for 5 seconds to do the outro because my camera is severely overheating today. But so, thank you guys for watching. See you guys for the next video. Bye!